This will be our final battle, Batalix Dragonoid.
そうですか。
You killed my family and destroyed my village. I will never forgive you.
あなたは厳しい話をしますが、行動は言葉よりも強いです。
Very well, I will destroy you.
Sup, losers? It is I, Bakublitz, back with the final episode of Big Boy Week. This was intended to go up Friday, but it's going to end up being on Saturday instead. So sorry about that, but I'm still gonna do the video. And of course, I saved the best for last because today we're going to be taking a look at DraThron, who is the big boy for the Bakutech line. So before we get into it, much like Dragonoid Destroyer, I do not have the Go Dragon that came with it, so I will just be substituting a regular Jigen Dragon. Anyhow, it's out of the way, let's get right into it. So the first thing I would notice with DraThron in his closed form is that he's actually round and the shape of, well, a Bakugan. And he looks quite a bit like a Deca, but if we bring in a Deca, you can actually see he is quite a bit larger than a standard Deca. So he is pretty huge, pretty ridiculous, very over the top, and I like that a lot. This does have an MG mark with a magnet, so you can actually use this like a Bakugan. And there are two main ways to open this. One, like I said, like a regular Bakugan with the magnet, and the other way I'll get into afterward. So, take a card. And there he is. Little camera. So yeah, manual parts are all these horns on his head. These two are, of course, connected. And he is huge. We bring in the Deca Dragonoid from Battle Planet just for comparison. You can definitely see DraThron is quite intimidating. He makes even Decas look puny. So, yeah, that is very cool. He's so big. And, again, now that he is open, again, first thing I notice is that his paint is definitely one of the better of the big boys. We got lots of gold, blues. Here's some more at the front. And there's a lot going up on this little bit right here. And there's also a lot of sculpting detail all over the place, like here, just pretty much everywhere. These wings are covered in them. Tail, it's a whole lot. I wish this was painted blue, but it's still better than most of the other big boys. Under his arms, which is kind of hard to see. Yeah, this thing is just covered in tons of detail with the sculpting. And like most big boys, I'm a little disappointed on the paint, but it's still better than a lot of the others. So yeah, let me close them up real quick, and I'll show you the other way to open them. The second way to open DraThron is the full way. So this will fully open him. The other way doesn't quite open him all the way. So he kind of has two modes, sort of in the way. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take these little stands out from under him. Now they'll hold him up and keep him still. And what you're supposed to do is you have to take your Bakugan and you have to roll it and hit this little gem bit thing. So let's see if I can do that with the camera. Yeah. And he will open that much. So yeah, you might be noticing what's going on here now, and that is that it's made a ramp. So but before we hit the ramp, we have two more targets to hit. We need to push in these little blades on the side. So yeah, let's see if I can do that. Alright, now once you have both these side bits hit, they'll move back a little bit. Now it's time to roll your Bakugan up the ramp, and you can see the little slot there where the magnet is going to activate. And that's where you're trying to land. So, yeah, let's see if I can do it. I'm going to do it from the side, so a bit more space. Now that DraThron's in this fully open mode, there is quite a bit more to look at. There's quite a bit more going on. Manual parts are still, for the most part, the same with the horns, but on the wings, you also have to flip out these claws, and underneath, close up the stands, and pull down on the legs. And now, it looks even more intimidating if we get the Dragonoid in. You can see just side by side just how much bigger DraThron is. He's pretty crazy. He's ridiculously huge. Like I said, he is the biggest Bakugan we've had released so far. We don't know if there's going to be anything bigger in Battle Planet. My money's going to be on no, but you know. So yeah, we can see a lot more detail now that he is fully open on his wings. Of course, there's the claws, but there's also a lot more sort of, I guess, detail along there. And then these bits that come out, they're kind of spiraling, and when it opens up, these things open as well, and it causes these blades to spin. So that just adds to the whole spectacle of this thing opening up. It's 1000 Gs. I didn't cover that in the last mode. So yeah, he's not in terms of G power, he's not the strongest Bakugan ever, but for Bakutech, he's the highest G power any of them ever reached. Of course, this thing isn't actually legal for play, but you can still use it for fun with friends. So yeah, a lot of the detail on this is the same, but you can just see a lot more of it now. There's a lot that was covered up when he was when he was partially closed. This head mold, which I gotta bring in, I just think looks fantastic. I do kind of wish that the mouth had a bit of friction. You could like pose it closed or open. It's kind of loose, so you only get to pose it open. And just looking at this thing, I love how well integrated the sort of ramp is into the design. This doesn't look like it has any weird gimmicks like that, where there's a ramp that you have to roll up. So yeah, that's just, I'm just surprised that they're able to, that they were able to incorporate it into the design so well. So yeah, definitely really cool. My biggest complaint with DraThron has to be that when it's in its normal form, these still trigger the wings to open. So sometimes when you're opening it from the standard closed form, one of the wings, or both of them in that case, will still open even though they aren't supposed to, and that really sucks. I really don't like that. It's a pretty big flaw, but I still think this thing is fantastic. There's so much done right with this that it completely makes up for the admittedly large flaw. Anyhow, my final thoughts on DraThron is, well, like I said at the beginning of the video, I saved the best for last. I do say this is my favorite out of all the big boys I own / have owned. Rest in peace, Octavius Destroyer, I guess. Not really, I hated that thing. But, yeah. So, he is quite a bit pricey, as a lot of the Bakutech figures are. But, I just think this thing's so great. I wouldn't be opposed to buying another one sometime in the future. So I definitely still think if you have the money and you're willing to spend it, I'd say go for it. I think this thing is fantastic. It's a lot of fun to play with since it has the little challenge of activating it fully, and even though this does technically fall under the line of useless chunks of plastic, since you can't actually use this in game, since it is still a Bakugan, you can use it kind of like for fun with friends. I mean, Bakutech ended, it's not like you're going to any tournaments anyways, but, you know. So yeah, like I said, if you can, I definitely say go for it. I love this thing so much. One of my favorite Bakugan products all around. Overall thoughts is this is a 10 out of 10. Anyhow, that's it for my review of DraThron, and I will see you guys in the next video.
私はあなたに言った。誰もドラゴノイドの巨像を倒すことはできません。
I will not be the one to lose this fight.
どのようにしてドラゴノイドの巨像を倒しましたか？クソ。